Welcome back to the show. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of The State of Loud. The State of Loud, the State of Loud, the State of Loud, the State of Loud, State of Loud, State of Loud, the State of Loud. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of A State of Loud. I'm your host, Christopher Jefferson, and we're back here with another bomb episode. And joining me is none other than my producer, the man himself, the guy who I believe we said looks like Teddy Pendergrass.
Yes.
Mr. AJX Beast himself. AJ, how you doing this week,
Hey,
bro?
what's going on, guys? Hey, it's your boy AJX Beast, and we're back at it again with another podcast.
Living life.
Living life.
Good news every day.
Life's just life.
Blessings on blessings.
Blessings on blessings on blessings.
That's what I'm
Shout out
talking
to Big
about.
Sean, man.
Shout out to him wherever he is, what he's doing.
Him and Janine Nyko. They still kicking.
Oh, yeah, they got a kid.
Oh, they did.
Yep.
You're right. So they definitely still kicking.
They
See, you
definitely,
know?
yep.
See,
Mhm,
I'm-
see?
I'm in the
Is this
past,
the
man.
season of no children?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know if their kids knew or not. It was the last thing I heard about them. It was the last thing I heard about them. It could have
That
been
was
like
a while ago.
last year.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, their kids probably bigger now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, as always, we're continuing to bring you guys what you want to see and the amazing people that we get to meet and have here on the show.
Yep.
And this episode is no different. You guys know we have people from different walks of life, different crafts, different places. And today we're bringing you one of our first major artists to the show. We've had spoken word, we've had singers, we've had psychologists, we've had real estate people, and everybody on a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Today we bring you somebody that I would like to say has at least what I've seen has had a major impact in the visual arts world, especially in the tri-state area. He has had work in the Newark Art Museum as well as the Smithsonian. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to you. See, I told you I was gonna. It's the whole name I know.
Ricardo Osmondo Francis.
Thank you.
Oh, very good.
Oh wow,
AJ.
you did this.
Come
So
on
you're
now.
gonna leave that in,
Come on now.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Come
Okay.
on now.
Mr. Ricardo Osmondo
Come on
Francis to the
now.
show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave it in. We'll leave it in. Oh God, we'll leave it in. But welcome to the show, the most uncanny intro ever. But I think I got through most of what I wanted to say. But welcome to the show, man. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great.
Good.
Today was a great day already.
Yes.
The weekend, this past weekend was great.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good.
Yes.
That's beautiful to hear.
That's good.
We it's not often we hear people say that they're good.
I know.
Or if they say they're good, it's in a way of dismissing the question or of an
That's
over
very true.
right?
Yeah. I do believe in telling the truth of how I feel because it's not an issue of complaining. It's more of a thing of owning it.
Mm.
And then for me, my mind then goes and consciousness then goes, well, how do you solve it?
Mm.
Yeah. So if I'm not having a great day, I definitely will say so. I'm like, this is not a great day. This is why. Maybe a few people need to be, not in the equation
Okay.
right now, or
Okay.
whatever the case may be. But
Yeah. Jeez, I like that. So so in a way, you give yourself space to feel the emotion, to recognize, okay, this isn't one of the great ones, and then your next step is to, okay, how can we fix this?
Yes.
So in a way, you're not allowing yourself to be self-loathing, to sit in that emotion and be like, woe is me for too long. You're like, okay, I recognize it, but let's make that change.
Yes.
Sheesh. Because now we're going down that road. Because that mindset, to me, I feel like it's easy to speak of, harder to execute, right? When it comes to realizing a problem in our lives, we often hesitate in making any change that we need to, even if it's for the better, either out of fear of, am I strong enough? Do I have the tools to make this change? Is it going to even get me to a better place? We sometimes allow fear to stop us from even moving. When you're in what has gotten you to the point where you're like, oh no, this isn't good. Let's make a change like right now.
Recently was, and we met through housing.
Mm-hmm.
When I was doing housing, I'm not going to say the agency I work for.
No
or-
need. You're in the community.
I need to keep
That's
my
it.
job. But, I did housing for almost 2 years.
Okay.
And there were actually aspects of it that I actually really liked
Okay.
about it. I enjoyed helping people figure out very complicated situations that they were in. My issue was dealing with middle management, which
Mm.
in this case was in two separate situations. They just kept blocking things from really being productive
Mm-hmm.
for me. So I chose not to be angry about it. I chose like, and usually I'm very vocal, like what the hell, like no, this is a no. We're not doing this.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
But being in a setting where anything I said or did could be used against me, I
Mm.
decided to deal with it in almost a neutral stance, which was a huge lesson for me, um, psychologically to do.
Mm.
But once I learned how to do that, I was like, and eventually now I work in HIV prevention,
Yes.
and just the structure of it is a lot more freeing, and I'm just able to really. There's some housing elements to that because
Mm-hmm.
lately housing has been again still a very huge part of if someone is seeking social services,
Yeah.
housing is sort of that specter in the background for
Absolutely.
a lot of us right now.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I'm now able to really, and I love doing community outreach.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to build bridges with other agencies, and I had to do that with while in housing. And what I think irritated, especially my previous boss, was I was able to, without her really knowing, I was able to really do a lot, and I just never, said too much. Only when
Mm.
she asked for updates on things, and somehow magically a lot of things would just get resolved.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had a coworker. I'm not going to say that one's
No,
name.
not at all. You're good. You're good.
Who would just tell her everything, and she gave him carte blanche to do quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my point in this is that I don't know, being an artist is intriguing for me because I can be in my own self
Mm-hmm.
and structure things in my own way. And so to work with other people, um, even in arts, you have to do that to some degree. I'm
Mm.
sure you don't working in video production. There's a lot of concessions sometimes you have to make with clients and
Oh yeah.
whatnot. And the same even with me to some degree with working with art spaces and curators and sometimes with collectors.
Mm.
But in this setting, it is kind of been consistently like people deal with this all the time. And you can
Oh
see like people
man.
like when I was
Yeah.
growing up, like especially in the '90s, the term postal
Mm-hmm.
was
Yep. Yep.
like people
Yep.
just come to work and I'm
Yep.
not trying to make fun of when people lose it and they shoot up a place.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
it took time to get to that.
Oh, it always does. Yeah.
People just don't start out that angry.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Lately, I've been in I'm coming out of a situation to where I was pressured quite a
Mm.
bit, um, not respected as I feel like I should have been.
Mm.
But you know, um, I listened to my mother, and she was a social worker for many decades, and
Mm-hmm.
she just said sometimes it's just good to say okay and not give uh too much of a response. And that was a hard lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have to admit she was right when it came to how I was able to just very, smoothly find a new position.
Yeah.
Same agency, mind you.
That's crazy.
And
See him walking down the hall. Like
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, to me, that was the best way to prove a point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that. Oh man.
standing on business.
Yeah. Wow. We're going. Yeah. Wow. We're going there.
Stepping on next.
No, but
Rip me out the plastic.
Yes.
I gotta get in the camera on you, AJ. You can't be saying this on camera, man. We need people to see you. But
They get me for the solo episode, man.
But seriously, thank you for sharing that, because that's such a valuable story, and what most of us probably face, not just in social services, but in any hierarchy of money companies, I should say, where you'll have an idea, you know how to fix something, you don't have the support of the company, the management, the team, the resources. Something's going to let you out, and it's extremely taxing to still remain in that environment, because you have to execute based on somebody else's desires that still won't get you to the goal in which they need, but they're not willing to listen to you to make the changes needed to get to the goal. And in a way, it's almost like you're can drive you mad, literally, postal, because you're sitting here like, this isn't going to work, and we're going to have the same problems.
Yeah.
And you want me to keep doing this, and it can be extremely taxing. But you're right. I think you come in there and you just say, okay, all right, sounds good. And you go back to your desk, and if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, well, okay.
There was a housing case manager at a different organization here in Jersey City, and he told me one of the most simplest words of advice, and he said, "Don't worry about it," because we were, and usually I would speak to him like maybe twice a week.
Yeah,
he would be in the office, whatnot, and then the rest of the week, I guess he would either work remotely or whatnot. And he said, "Ricardo, he's like, it will all be figured out. They will figure what they need to do, and you can advise them what to do, but they'll figure it out."
Yeah,
and he was right.
Yeah,
or is right, I should say.
Yeah,
everything does fall into place.
Yeah, and it's that line is so true to my life and where I'm at right now, because it resonates so much with me. Sometimes it's hard to even get the thoughts out, because my brain's like still computing so many things as you mentioned that. But yeah, it's not easy to get to the level of like, it's not that you don't care, it's you've let go of the expectation.
Yes,
to a sense, and
but
so
I've
you
done
do
the same thing with my art.
Yeah, you care, and you're passionate, and you're driven, and you're going to put in the work. But the minute you let go of what the outcome is, and you're like, well, I'm doing the best I can. The way it ends up is the way it ends up. And if it's good, good. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and do the same thing. And if it's bad, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and do the same thing, or grow from it and hopefully improve. But you realize, like he said, all right, don't worry about it. Like, why worry? It's not going to change the outcome. You did what you could, and they're going to learn anyway. And that's like a lesson most of us haven't learned.
Yeah, I don't want to wrinkle, so I'm not.
To sit up
and worry myself over things that are really out of my control.
That's so true, man. I mean, geez, like that level of awareness, like many people talk about it, many people desire it, many people can't get to it. So I had to ask, like, not just how did you get to the point of being able to live in those moments of realization, but to be aware enough that once someone does provide you with a piece of advice, for you to actually just directly apply it.
To have an open mind is a real vibration. And people, I think, need to realize that it does not make sense to say you have an open mind, and then when someone is giving you advice and you don't really hear it, if your mind was open to receive it, you'd understand what they're telling you. It's just that simple, really. Sometimes an idea or something that's advised to you seems not what you would think to do.
Yes.
But if your mind is open to receive it, then mentally, spiritually, you know what that person is trying to tell you.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like, thanks. Yeah, seriously. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just, how can I say this? I don't even know. I agree with that because yeah, again, I don't know. I'm having a 404 error right now, AJ.
Uh-oh.
Just trying to compute
Part
all
two.
this. Yeah, because I got to talk it out loud so I can get past it and keep moving through. But that line is so real to say, all right, like there's one thing to be open-minded, but there's another way to actually practice it. And because you're absolutely right. Like I've learned and I've met people that say they're open-minded, but really what they believe is that they believe what they believe is open-minded. And if you don't believe in what I believe, then you're obviously not open-minded. And you're like, no.
Yeah,
Being open-minded isn't
red
believing
versus
in
blue.
one thing. Yeah, like,
Democrats versus Republicans.
yeah, it's the
One of
wildest.
them are really the same thing
Thank you.
altogether.
Right? And it's such a wild predicament we have in this thing we call life. Because we were talking about this in open-mindedness, and I was telling him that if you break down the simplest structures of life in what we believe it is, where they say when you get to oneness, you realize that you're a spiritual being having a physical experience, and that like you're a part of everybody else's individual thing, and it's all one big connected piece of understanding and experiences, and it's like not as complicated as we say it is.
True.
But and my option to that, my add to that was if people could literally get to that level of understanding, every label that we put on anything, including people, places, things, that then limit them in any direction would no longer exist.
Can I add something to that?
Please.
So, I'm gay.
Hmm?
I mean, that's been obvious. Although for some people, they think that I like women, which I think is hilarious. But
We're gonna have to ask Esther later. But keep going, because I need
is
to.
this spoken about on this show?
No, I mean, no, we're open to anything.
Yeah, we
Okay.
open.
And that's why, and I made that statement because I said that. I was like, if we get rid of all labels, if we get rid of all labels, then there would be no hate between anyone loving anyone else, because you're just be like, those are two spiritual entities loving each
Trying to
other.
find each other.
Yeah, and you'd be like, the physical thing they have is their physical experience. But what makes it difficult is we label it and then we tell you how to act within the label we give it.
Well, you're looking at it from, people look at things from their viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You know, that
They never
causes
did.
so many
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, whatever, I've got going on over here, this is my experience. This is my story that I'm living.
Mm.
What story you're living and what story you're living is two different stories.
Yeah.
So whoever you meet, or whatever experiences you're having, those, for better or for worse, are the experiences you are meant to have, and that you are, learning from and figuring out.
Yeah.
My best friend Andre, it took me some time. Again, open-mindedness, took me a while to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But he taught me the aspect that sexuality isn't always so finite.
Mm.
With people, it's like some people genuinely can like both. I tended to always be like, you're either straight or you're gay, and this, that, and the other. And the reality is that that's not necessarily always true.
Mm-hmm.
That just isn't.
Yeah.
And it took me quite some time to understand that, but once I understood that, and I had conversations with people along the way or whatnot in terms of their experiences intimately with people or whatnot, I realized that there was so much I didn't know. And sexuality in general is more gray than it is black and white.
Yeah. I think we are the only beings in the animal kingdom that abide by these rules. And we've made, and in nature, you've seen the fluidity of it completely throughout many of the animals in the animal kingdom. Yes. And I'm like, and I'm always like, we say we're the smartest, but then we then try to dumb everything down and get mad when it doesn't fit in our little puzzle. And I'm like, we are the creators. We are the answer and the source of our own problems.
Amen.
Hey,
and
we are the gods.
We are the gods.
Generator, operators, and destroyers of our own reality.
Yeah, and it literally...
Bring that back.
it brings me to the discussion because I'm going to bring this back into art just because I always feel like everything is always connected. Where I had a friend that was like, okay, if we are the creator and the answer to our problems, what happens if we create a system that had no problems? What would people do? And this is, I said most people would do one of two things. They would consume or they would create. But whatever it is, it would be an art form of some kind.
Sure.
So it would be, if you're consuming something someone created. It's a piece of art. And if you're done consuming, you're creating it. And I was like, and that's, to me, that would be the way we can exchange to find in a place of peace, and finding balance in that. But we live in a world now where, because we've created so much finite rules and structures that make ourselves miserable, and we're still arguing about stuff, and then we keep growing slowly, and it just takes time. We can't get to the place where we all feel peace of just creating and consuming the natural gifts we're given. And I feel like artists are the people that kind of realize real early that, or late, depending on how when you realize it, that like creation itself is a form of true freedom.
It can be.
It can be, right? And that we now live in a society where we're taught consumption is where the freedom is. And I think that's why when most people get to a place, even the ultra
lens.
through the ultra wealthy, they're like, oh, I have everything and I'm happy. I'm like, are you though? And then I've met artists that are just like, I'm like, I don't know how that dude even makes money, but he's always got a meal, he's fine, and he's always smiling. And I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I just wake up and I make art every day. I love this. And I'm just sitting here like, and like, so it's like you guys found the cheat code, like, and it's, to me, I mean, I could get into the whole thing
but there's no cheat code.
No, I don't want to say cheat code.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, I feel like you have to be daring to be an artist. You have to kind of, like, people say I wear my heart on my sleeve and all the thing, but I feel like as an artist, you have to be willing to be a lot more vulnerable than the average person. Now, when I want to go back to kind of you getting into, like, starting art, where did your journey into this world start? And kind of what was the driving force behind it?
So you want to know where I'm from and that kind of thing?
Anything. Where did it start? Like, where did you start? Where did art become a major part of your life?
So I'm originally from Houston, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Oh, the Houston.
Yeah, whoop, whoop.
Looking at some houses.
And when I was 4 years old, I had one of those. Lenny Kravitz described this in terms of, like, there was a moment where he felt or thought he saw God or experienced God, and he was around that same age, and it was a presence that was in the room. For me, it was in the kitchen, and it was almost like a faint voice saying, "You're an artist," and I didn't know what to make of that at first. And then in my mind, in my spirit, I suppose, I was like, I've been drawing a lot and I like doing this. And I am obsessed with it. I was like, I think I want to be that. And I want to be an artist.
Please continue. Because that's... No, please.
My grandmother and mother and some family members, they would do things like, give me sketchbooks and pencils and this and the other. I was really interested in comic books. I wanted to be actually a comic book artist for quite some time. Yeah. It wasn't until I was 14 and was in middle school at the time. My 7th grade art teacher, Mr. John Gaines, he said to me, put me to the side, it's like, you're going to be a painter. Again, people telling me what to do.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I never am asked things. You're going to be this. And I'm like, okay. But so I said, no. I was like, I want to be a comic book artist. I was like, painters don't make money. And I don't want to be like Vincent Van Gogh.
Jeez,
just out there, deranged and cutting off my ear and sad and lonely and, a cliche, so to speak.
Yeah.
He laughed, but he was like, no, it's like you have it in you to be one.
Wow.
And yeah, so I tried it. I tried painting, and I actually ended up really liking it, and I became again obsessed with it. And then I ended up I auditioned for the high school for the performing and visual arts
Mm-hmm.
in Houston, and that was, I would say, some of the best 4 years in terms of arts education I ever had.
Wow.
I also worked. I had four other friends in the art department who we formed a group called BLAFTCO. It was literally like our first and last names. We just created a fictional, art company.
That's definitely a comic book thing. That's cool
Yeah.
though. I like it.
And we, at the time, we got a studio space at Midtown Arts Center in my neighborhood in Third Ward
Mm.
in Houston, and started off there. And we would go to openings. We would have studio visits from art professionals. And mind you, we were like 15, 16.
That's like
17.
extremely impressive to be doing at that age.
But I'm not thinking about it like, to me, the thing of age is irrelevant. I kind of have always thought that.
Yeah.
Until I came to New York, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Please.
So
Yeah.
but at that time, I wasn't thinking about age. I was just simply thinking about like I need to know who these people are that being
Yep.
in the art world and whatnot, and go to things and be connected and whatnot.
Yeah.
And to me, it was fun.
Yeah.
I saw it as fun. I'm like, if you're going to be effective part of your community, you need to go do these things, and you need to meet people.
And that's extremely. I like you said. You said it. You just thought it was fun.
Mhm.
And I feel like when we take things too seriously, that's where the fear kind of comes in. We
Well, how
don't
do
take
you-
those leaps.
Yeah, how do you learn if of your passion and you're not having fun with it? That makes no sense. It just doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
you can't. Oh, it becomes a job.
Yeah.
No disrespect to jobs.
Yeah, no.
I'm just saying, but when the fun's not there,
Yeah.
yeah, how can you create? How can you just be free to explore and to try new things if you're not having fun? It gets too serious. But please
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. So there was an executive director named Ms. Alice Valdez, who I love her dearly. She found out that us five had the studio, at the Midtown Arts Center. She was like, she had her daughter, which she went to school with us. She convinced us to come to her arts organization in the old Sixth Ward in Houston, and she was like, I'll give you a classroom here for free. The only caveat here is you have to teach art classes and do art projects here." I was like, "Okay."
Yo,
That's fire.
yo,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I learned
seriously.
very early that, and I think this is how human beings dealt with each other way back, in other, time periods. You're bartering. You're
yeah,
bartering a service.
yes,
You're bartering, your commodities with each
Yeah.
other. For me, money it's important, very
Mhm.
important, but
yes.
it is not the be all do all of everything either.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing to grasp when, especially in our society, very materialism drawn, very money focused,
Yeah.
and I've even experienced myself where I've experienced both ends, where like I didn't care about money, so I was doing great work and not being compensated, and my friends are like, "You're crazy. What are you doing? You can ask for way more." To the side where I've had opportunities where I was only money driven with the opportunity, and it took away from some of the creative focus that I had. And I feel like, yeah, it's an interesting place to be where I've realized now, if you focus on doing good work, and you start looking at who else is doing it maybe at that same level. And I learned this just recently, like what I say, the value you'll put in your art is different than somebody else. So don't undervalue yourself because someone may be willing to pay you a lot more than what you think they will. And it kind of put me in a perspective of that, like, okay, if I'm making something on the lines of someone similar to me, let me see what they're charging. Let me see where they're at. and I can kind of know there. But
Bodegas do this all the time.
do they really?
Yes,
Oh,
they do.
jeez. $8 eggs for no reason.
Halal carts too.
Industry secret.
Halal carts too.
Gee, bro, don't
yeah.
even get me started.
Yeah.
Yo, why you still hurt by that? Somebody almost charged him $50 for some halal.
For falafel gyro. And when I was over in the city,
where?
It was me and my girl, we were hungry. It was after the movies.
Wait, stop. $50
for 2 falafel gyros. And then mind you, on the chart it said 15 for one. Falafel gyro is not even 15, but somehow it went up $20 more. And he was talking about inflation, but the cart next to him wasn't charging that much. Crazy.
That's insanity.
Would have walked away. I'm sorry.
I mean, I still got him to take down like
yeah,
30,
I know, but
almost $30, but still.
Thank you. I was like, I would have been like,
away.
have a nice day, sir.
Yeah.
I'm not that hungry. Like, have a nice day.
I should have walked away with the bag, but
oh my god, but no, I mean,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Oh man,
I would not pay $50 for that.
No, thank you.
It was crazy.
$7, I'm good.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But no, I don't need no else. But no, with the pricing thing, I think that we can get so lost in that when you create art, because we have this thing, like I know for myself, you want to be self-sufficient as an artist, you want to live off of that.
I would love to, yes. And I'm working towards that.
Yeah, and if you try too hard to just live off it with the money aspect, you lose some of the art, so you don't get there. But then if you stay true to making what's good, it comes by itself. And that's where like I've learned in the this year, I was like, just be good. Just be so good that when people look at it, they're blown away. And like we've taken gigs where like working with my buddy Tyson, he'll call me up, he's like, hey, we got to shoot this thing for them. I don't even ask him what the pay is. I'm just like, what are we shooting?
Smart man.
What do you want it to look like? All right, we're using these cameras, these lenses, these lights. We're going to bring these mics. I'm just going to bring a whole kit and I'll come out and shoot. And then I'm like, I'm not going to worry about the money. The money's going to be there. I have a great opportunity to make something amazing. Let me go in and do it. And we started off.
You've surrendered to the work.
Oh yeah. Now wholeheartedly, like I was like, at the end of my life, I can brag about money, but at the end of my life, I want to leave something that people look at and go, sheesh, what happened? Like, what did that guy do? Exactly. Because people inspired me not by the money they made, but the work they did. Right. And so it got to that point now where the work we've done where we were vastly underpaid for what we made, but we were super proud of it, got us into doors now where the budgets they talk about, like it's almost to the point like I then sit there and go, I gotta hire somebody that's working with a budget that big because I don't know what I need or what I don't need, and that makes me uncomfortable, and I don't want to get it wrong. And I'm like, and I said to him, I was like, how did we get here? And he says to me, he goes, just keep doing a good job. Keep showing up, having fun, and making it look good. And when the producer asked us, like, what's your goal? Our goal to her was, all we want to do is show up and have fun and make art every day. And she goes, cool, we can make that happen. I'll take care of the logistics. If we get the budget, we're good. I'll make sure when you show up on set, you just get to paint your picture, get and capture the footage you need, and we can go home. And I was like, wow, that's crazy to say out loud. But you're right. It's so much better because you can. I mean, work jobs prove you can make money and still hate what you do, and it becomes not worth it.
Yeah, that becomes then a question of, where is your alliance as a person?
True.
And everybody gets to they're asked that question in many times in their existence. I do want to bring up my. So I had a mentor. His name is Leonidas Rosa Molinar. He passed away. We're in 2024, 2021. He passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but he taught me a lot about how to surrender to life. He taught me a lot about how everything is in its time. And he always would say, you're on the right path, Ricardo. Just stop thinking.
Wow.
And it took me years. I knew him for 15 years. But it took me probably by maybe in the 15 years I knew him, probably by the 10th year, I began to fully understand what that meant. Because I would always think, why is this not happening? Why is this not happening? Time again. And he was like, you have to surrender. You have to stop thinking. With the work, the art, he forced me to relearn it all over again.
Wow.
I always teased and said, especially in the beginning, working with him, I was like, you're like one of those Russian ballet teachers with the stick.
Hitting you every time. Tighten up. Split. Yo.
Yeah. So, but what he said, a lot of it was true.
Mm-hmm.
He forced me to rethink how I did my work, how I approached my work.
Yeah.
And he taught me so much about how to not only paint and draw, but how to live in life and not be concerned about what I believed for many years was an issue, but instead what all it is just part of my story of going from point A to point B. So, yeah. I can say just by how the work has been developing and the joy in doing it and in learning from it, just making things.
Yeah.
The things he instilled in me, money can't buy that.
It's extremely, I don't know the word I want to use, impressive or interesting, that you share like in your teenage years, you're being asked to teach classes in a bartering system and getting a free place to be. And then you mentioned that you've known him for 15 years and he teaches you to just let go.
Yes.
It's almost like from the outside, you're almost like, how did you even do those things when you were younger without letting go or having something inside you to say, don't worry, for you to be able to realize it now? Or is it just two different things?
No, it's not. It actually, he taught me how to go back to especially my teenage and childhood years. I wasn't thinking at that time. There was very little thinking going on.
Yeah.
There was no plan.
Yeah.
There was no it has to look like this, or be this way.
Yeah.
And that's what really he was teaching me.
Yo.
So when I speak with artists, and sometimes I probably annoy quite a bit of them, if I'll be honest, sounds a little arrogant. I can look at art and tell if there's passion behind it. I can.
No, I believe that. I believe that.
What did you say, Jay?
I was saying my girlfriend's an artist.
Oh, really?
Check out some.
She's a painter. She's a painter.
Yeah, so she does paint, digital stuff. Yeah, she's dope.
I had to get her Instagram.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I got Hey, I was like, known reality on Instagram.
I was like, that is shameless plug in the middle of the show. AJ looking for opportunities, right? But I definitely get that. You can tell when passionate, because I know when I looked at your work, I was like, how can I say it? The beautiful part is anytime I meet an artist and you tell me you're an artist, I'll always have a perception of what I think your work looks like before I even look at it. And then when I look at it, it gives me a way deeper understanding of who you are. And we're looking at your work and just like the different, I don't want to say, it's not variety. That's like a boring word to use, variety. The moments you capture and the way that you're able to portray them is like, yeah, there's a lot of emotion in all of them. That's what really like pulled me in when I was looking at it. Is like, I almost want to make it, I don't want to say it's like your statement of like being able to tell if someone puts like passion, intimate detail into their work is present when I see what you make. And I'm like, even I'm looking at it, I'm like, I probably I would have to ask you about this painting to get the full interpretation, because even my own interpretation, I don't even feel is deep enough or correct.
Believe it or not, I tell people all the time, you probably know more about the piece than I do.
That's crazy. And that's the part that blows my mind because I'm like, I'm probably making all this stuff in my own head that may be completely different. And that's where I'm always curious because
Most
I'm
times
like,
it's not.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Most times people are dead right on what they see.
Wow.
And all I really go on is it's kind of like this innate thing. Like I will know this painting needs to start with this color. And then if it's figurative, I kind of know what the pose is and the way it needs to be set up.
Yeah.
But in terms of how it will exactly come out, I never know.
So you, in a sense, have some type of vision of how you want to start. And then when you're in the process, you just let go.
Yes. That's exactly how it goes.
What does that experience feel like?
Scary at times, you know. So there's two paintings I'm making right now for a political show. The one called Election. I think I emailed you about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
earlier.
absolutely, yeah.
So that goes live September 1st. There'll be more information on that, you know, as soon as I get that.
Info in the link below.
Yes. Yes. And it's basically a painting of portraits of both Trump and Kamala Harris. And I never thought I would be painting either of them because I did not want to comment on the election this year at all. Did not. I was not interested. I was more happy with working on other stuff that's currently in development. But a studio mate of mine, Patricia Dahlman, we were speaking in the hallway a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, "Oh, Ricardo," I was like, "I would love to. I'm going to do an online, a group art exhibition online for the current election." And the one part of me was like, I don't want to paint this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other part of me was like, this is an important time,
Yeah.
moment right now. And if you don't express the worry and angst that's going on right now with a lot of people, this may be an opportunity, a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And I said to her, "It's like, you know," I was like, "I think I know what to do." And thank you for asking me. I was like, I gotta get started on on paintings. Those two paintings have been some of the most eye-opening things I've made in a long time. And I can't wait till they're fully shared. I can't share them right now.
Oh,
because,
no worries.
you know, I have to follow what's been advised to me. I asked her literally a couple of days ago. I was like, "Can I share the works in progress?" Because on my IG page, I share works in progress all the time.
Yeah.
And she said, "Could you not?" Simply because, you know, we want to make sure that the PR aspect of this is all done at the same time. And I said, "Sure."
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, "I can honor that."
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've already shown that you're willing to create things that you're not necessarily comfortable with,
True.
or topics you're not necessarily comfortable with.
Yes.
Have you ever taken on a piece that you would say when you started really didn't think much of it, and then when you finished was like, this is probably one of the most transformative pieces I've ever created? Not necessarily for the audience, but for yourself as an artist.
There's a few that have done that. There's one called Red Sunsets or Grand 2, and they're of two young men. They're like kind of roughhousing each other
Yes.
on what appears to be a beach. And there's an owl looking on, and it's a very dense painting. And that painting took 2 years to finish. It's a huge painting. I started it before, no, not actually during the pandemic. And I'm not sure why it took so long, but I did an entire other show about the pandemic called 2020. Um, and I put the painting off to the side. Oftentimes, the painting was looking at me while I was making all the other stuff. And the pose itself didn't mean much at the time. I knew that for me it was a challenge because it was something I would not normally paint, but it ended up being when I revisited it and then really continued to develop it. There was just so many things that began to happen, and sometimes I wonder. Certain pieces you start and they're meant to sit for a while and you're doing other things, and then when you go back to it, you begin to learn new things conceptually and technically from them.
Wow. Yeah, I was
New
just
challenges and whatnot.
yeah, I was just about to ask you that because I found that when you read a book and then you live your life and you go back and reread it, the book changes
All
because
the time.
you gotta take the top off. Oh, you gotta take the top off.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I was like,
Y'all didn't see that.
I was sitting here for a second.
Let him do it for a little bit.
I was like, I wonder if he's gonna keep going with it.
I remember
If it would have came out though, oh yeah. And I was like, it's a TV prop. It's not real water. No, it is. But to that note, like, how does it affect the painting over 2 years of your life, going back and continuing it? Like, what did it feel like when you would put the paintbrush down, come back a couple weeks later, a month later or so, pick it back up and then start going? Like, dude, really? So does it like kind of put you back on that path of where the painting was taking you? Like, or do you look at it differently, or is like, how is it? Like, what does that process feel like?
It's hard for me to say exactly what that really looks like or feels like.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there's things you learn,
Mhm.
but there's things I learn with each piece that I make.
Yeah.
Even if it's something that, like, say the two pieces of Trump and Harris or whatnot. There's some things that's happening in both of them, and there's other people included with them. I'll just leave that as a as a
Yeah.
thing that you
Yeah.
all will you'll see when they're done.
Yes.
There's I did not think that would be there, but it's there. But this is the beauty of making art, and that is the work always is the master, not the artist. The artist is there to learn from the work itself.
And that, oh man, that's such a. The artist is there to learn from the work itself, because for longest time, I had the belief that, wow, I'm just saying this because you completely reconfigured a belief I had. So I used to believe that as an artist, your goal in life is to, once you know what your art is to learn the skills needed to be able to bring whatever ideas have been given to you into the 3D world to share with others for whatever purpose it may be, whether it's through education, inspiration, or just changing people's views, whatever it may be. Your goal is to learn the skills. For you to say that the artist's job is to learn from the work is the master, it's a completely different look on it, right? Because like with music, I started out what was it? I started out music production. And I was like, I have these ideas in my head and I don't have the skills. So I have to learn the skills. But you're right, in doing so, it is the art that's teaching you, because you're trying to refine something, you're trying to build something, and through that continuous practice, you get better. So in reality, where you think you're in control of, I know these things and create, no, not at all in any way, shape, or form. You're just like, yes, you're the vessel. What am I taking away from this time? And okay, whatever this may be, it's probably in preparation for whatever the next thing that I may be coming to do, or the next piece of art I'm introduced to.
So there is a composer Philip Glass. I absolutely love his work. A lot of people probably have heard his music, but just didn't know who it was. And I read one of his books, and an interviewer asked him about his technique and his training, and he said something that I thought was very true, and that is style is a special case of technique. And for me, what I read that as is every artist, no matter what genre they're in, they have to go through a period where they're really learning what the technique is. They have to be obsessed with it, learn from it, and be confident in their hands and in their consciousness and their mind. Once it's there, it takes some time to get through all of that. It's not going to happen overnight. I would say probably by the time I was in my mid 30s, I was more confident in being able to draw and paint. And now at I'll be 48 next month. With the past few years, I like say if I'm asked to do something, work on a show or work on a new series or whatnot, it's like okay, it doesn't become like this. Oh my God, I'm gonna be up all night, for months, developing this. It's like I know how to pace myself and know how to go about it without having to worry very much. So yeah.
That's man. You're like first I'm gonna say you're a wealth of wisdom over here. Like everything you say, everything you say, I'm sitting here like this is why I love hanging with artists because like artists truly have so many answers to life that anyone not practicing doesn't. But that's an absolutely. I think it's a part of the process that most people may not stick around long enough to get to where it can be comfortable and you can let go and you can start truly enjoying the process of every new venture and realizing like, oh, this is just a new episode. It's going to start. We will have a whole story and there will be an ending. And then there'll be some time where I can relax until the next one starts. And I feel like that's where you truly start to become free and enjoying it more because in the beginning it's like you have something to prove and you're trying so hard to get to a certain point, but that freedom of being like, all right, this is here for a reason. I'm prepared for this. The universe decided this is what's here for me. I'm not going to worry because whatever I'm going to learn is going to be here, and all the tools, materials, and the time I'll need is here. And I let go of what it's going to feel like to do it. I wish a lot. I'm saying I'm glad you shared that here because for me, I went through a lot of suffering and pain, through a lot of growth and things I've been building because the expectation over time. And I've always realized things take more time than you think. And when you think you're ready for this next big step, that's not when you're ready. That's not when it's going to come. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Just sit back. You're going to learn something from this process. Even if it's not a joyous time, it's probably not joyous because you're not getting what you think you should instead of just sitting back and seeing what it's giving you.
So true.
And it literally, it's why now I've embodied a lot of the traits in which you discussed. And my girlfriend said to me the other day, you don't care about anything. You'll take any risk. It doesn't even matter. And I'm like, first off, you make me sound irresponsible. And I'm like, but then I was like, no, she's totally right. Like I can literally have an idea. Literally. The other night, we sat down just brainstorming. Went home and just was like, hey, you're going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to buy all of this because we have to do this. And she's like, okay. Like, you don't question it? I'm like, no, why would I? It was an idea given to me. Like, I believe in it that wholeheartedly. Like, I have to do this. I'm, like you said, obsessed with this and where it's going to take me. Even if it doesn't get to me where I want to be, it's going to show me something. It's almost a piece I wish there was a pill that people could feel that. Because, like, and you probably see it too, like,
Limitless?
not necessarily limitless, but for people to understand what that freedom and joy feels like. Because, like, I'm sure you go to work, you work with people that have been in their jobs for a long period of time, and they have nothing good to say. And you're just like, well, why don't you leave? And they have a million reasons why they shouldn't.
Those people piss me off.
Well, then that's all. That's most of America. then.
Yeah.
Yo,
That's most of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
like, just leave. Oh no, I can't.
So, AJ,
it's
you're-
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, that fear. Yeah.
Yes, because AJ, you started, I don't want to say you started young, because, I mean, you're an old soul or whatever we're going to label you as, time traveler.
Now I'm a singer. I'm an old time singer now.
Bro, look, I mean, you don't have a camera on you, but just the outfit right now. I'm just saying.
With the Vans,
I'm not mad at the Vans though, bro. I'm just, we're going to time traveler. That's all I'm going to call you. But it's such a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like one of the ultimate joys of life that I feel so many of us miss because of fear. Just saying, like we think that if we hold on to the fear, like, it won't surprise us. Like, nothing bad will happen if I'm already afraid. And you're like, no, you're only going to see the bad things. If you just let go and live, go as you please, do what you feel is right, and it's going to be fine.
Right.
And if it's not fine, then you're not done yet, and you still have more to do. Right. I feel like a lot of people don't have that sense of willingness to do that. So why do you feel people aren't willing to just take that chance?
They're ingrained by the families or their parents or their social group that they're in, and then when you tell, and this is my issue with a lot of Black and brown, young people, when your parents are telling you that you ain't shit, and these are conversations sometimes I've heard in life, and I'm just like, that is a spirit you are putting on a very wrong path, because not everybody has a strong spirit. Some people come with that. Others, I would say most, are impressionable. And I'm not saying that to be, negative. It's just, if you tell somebody enough that they're this, that they're this, that they're this, there is an aspect, there's a thing in them that's going to believe it.
Yeah.
And that's unfair.
Absolutely.
It just is.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's just wrong. I do. I sincerely believe that that's wrong. And I think there's so many people that have innate talents that should be shared with others, and yet they're fearful of doing that because of how they were, what was told to them, and what their life experiences ended up becoming because of what was advised to them by those that allegedly loved them.
Very true.
Yeah,
very true. Have you run into that along your journey as an artist?
Yeah. Oh yeah. People are not honest with me. There's a lot of, I would say, people are very cautious to connect with me. I mean, other artists. That is. And there is a sort of like a sort of a thing that is just sort of always there, where it's sort of a healthy competition that artists have with each other. But sometimes I can go into the ridiculous, and I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in competition with other people, whether they're in my profession or not. I just think that that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because what is for them is for them, and what is for me is for me. So, I'm all about opportunities, and everything is in its time. Again, everything is in its time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to ask, for anyone looking to get started, no matter what age it is, in any form of art, what would your advice be to them?
Go to openings, go to art openings, and meet people, meet the artists, speak to them, meet other artists that are there, speak to them, meet the curator or curators that are there, speak to them, speak to even the collectors or the people that are there just because.
Mm.
Get a well worth of information from all of the people in the equation, you know. And also, we have social media, and I think social media, when used correctly, can be a powerful tool to share your vision with people.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It can be.
Absolutely.
I know that sometimes it can be viewed as a negative thing. Um, I don't know. I tend to have more faith in it than people, others may have, you know. So I think it's a great tool to use. I just think it depends on the perspective or the way in which you utilize it,
Mm.
you know. So
I like that perspective. I like that perspective. With that being said, oh man,
this it?
yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Because I'm like,
Is this the hour?
I think it's gonna be so mellow. Honestly, I could keep going, and I want to. And every time I realize like I want to keep going, I go, it's probably been an hour. Like, slow down,
Yeah.
because then we go a lot deeper. But that's why we want to have you come back on the show. Because there's a lot more I'd love to ask you about on your journey. Talk about some of your works. We definitely want to talk more about that, because like I'm not an artist in that form, but I'm super curious. So definitely gonna have you back. And I think if we're in the new studio, maybe ask you to bring something. Maybe
Okay.
we could see. We'll
Yeah.
see. We have a little bit of room. But before we go, you can look into your camera, tell the people what you got going on, where they can find you.
So, I would say the next. So, there's a show currently happening at the Riverfront Art Gallery in Yonkers, at the Yonkers Public Library. It's on the fourth floor. That show is open until August 23rd, and there is the show Election, which will be online. It will go live on Sunday, September 1st. And there is going to be, I'm not sure if there's going to be an opening for this, but there's some new abstract paintings that I'm still working on.
Okay.
That'll premiere at the Mars Wrigley building in downtown Newark. It's literally right across the street from Newark Penn Station.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like 4 new pieces along with other artists
Okay.
from the Newark area. The dates are not specific yet. Again, on my IG page, I'll alert everybody. And that's it for now.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my life right now. So,
Well, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. So as always, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. It has been beyond a pleasure.
Of course.
Yes.
I will say, yeah, extremely amazing guest.
I get to watch it back.
Eye-opening.
Get to watch
Just
it
everything
back.
we
I'm hyped.
listened to.
Yeah.
But before we go, AJ, do you have anything you need to tell people?
I actually do today.
Let's go.
I actually do. So, if you guys don't know, I also have and curated my own channel and multiple channels at this point. But if you haven't already, subscribe to FTB Productions on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to AJ's Beast on YouTube. Check out my Instagrams. I got some stuff coming. That's why I'm hyped to promote.
Okay. I was wondering what we were plugging.
We getting back
I was
into
like,
it,
you better
man.
have some stuff on there to watch.
We got some
Don't
stuff
give
coming.
me an empty page to go follow.
Nah, man. Hey.
I'm needing notifications here. Jeez.
Hey, man. Hey. Back at it again.
Nah,
Let's get
but
it.
As always, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you very much again for coming on the show.
Yes,
Beyond awesome. Can't wait to have you back.
Super dope.
If you guys like what you saw, you know what to do. Check down the link in the description. Let's check out all of his work. Check out what's going to come up. Follow him on IG, because if you want to know what's going on, that's going to be your best bet. As always, ladies and gentlemen, it's Chris Jefferson here. We are tuning out. And what else is it? Just nothing but love, everybody. So
Peace.
Peace.